What is up, guys? Orbital-Pilot back here once again in the world of Warthunder. This time, taking to the skies in the J2M5. This is actually one of my most favorite planes in all of Warthunder, for a couple reasons we'll get into. But starting off, this is actually this was a Russian game, obviously, you know, Japanese versus Russians, in which the Russian team really kind of fell apart ridiculously fast. And sadly enough, it's not something you see very rarely in, you know, Japan, Russia games. It seems to me that either the Japanese side just falls right apart, or more often, the Russian team falls completely apart because the Russian fighting technique really kind of falls apart against Japan. Japan obviously has most of the time more maneuverable planes. They do have quicker planes. The J2M5 will outrun a Yak in a straight line and in a dive. And especially going against a Yak 9, it's going to do most things better. The Yak 9 is going to be a little bit more maneuverable, but not by much. So just keep that in mind in this battle. So this plane is a premium plane, and when you buy it, if you buy it, you have kind of two options in the Japanese tech line. You can either buy this, or you can buy the very similar J2M with 420mm cannons. Now, the 420mm cannons is what most people go for. This, you know, most of the time, most people say, you know, 600 rounds or so of 20mm ammunition is going to be better than, I think you start off with 80 in this plane, which is like 40 per gun or less. That's very little ammunition. However, here's the thing. With that amount of ammunition, I tend to get 3 to 4 kills per game, if the other team stays alive long enough. These are some of the best some of the best guns in the game. Really, the fire rate is just fine, but the best thing about these guns is actually the bullet drop. Now, here we have a Yak 9 doing what a Yak 9 does. He is going to try to outrun me. Now, of course, I am in a J2M. I'm going to be faster, but not by a lot. Instead, he's going to go straight for his airfield. This is where you run into problems, because I'm not going to catch him before that airfield AAA lights up. However, with these 30mm cannons, as you can see, 71 miles away, I kind of ranged some shots. Yeah, and he never stood a chance. From 0.7 miles out, I was able to completely obliterate his plane and waste, you know, 12 rounds. 12 rounds of ammunition, and I killed him that easily. 20mm, you'd be spraying, and they probably actually wouldn't have enough energy to actually get out there and take his plane down. But these 30 mils are godlike. In my opinion, they are actually, other than, you know, of course, like the 30 mils you get on the Hunter and the 20 mils you get in the F2 Saber and stuff like that, these are probably my favorite guns in the game. Just paired with the velocity of the cannons and the fire rate, it's not so ridiculously high. You just go through all your ammunition. It's really nice. These are guns most of the time that I only have to hit a plane maybe once, maybe 2 times with a round to completely obliterate it. You have stuff like the Germans, who have you know, 30 mils as well. Let's say in like the Warthunder J2M5. Those are similar to these. However, I feel like these rounds are a lot better. And then of course you have the German 30 mils, unlike the ME262, which are actually some of my most hated guns in the game. Although they're completely devastating if you hit, the problem is connecting. The velocity of the gun is just so incredibly low, you can't really touch anything unless you're right by it, or unless you do some insane gun leading, which could take literally anywhere from 50 to 80 rounds of actual gameplay to get really proficient in. So these guns are really easy to adjust to. Once you get 1 or 2 kills, you're going to know how to fire them, and honestly, it makes it incredibly easy. So that was it for this game, but let's jump into another one real quick. Now, this next one is a little bit more dirty. This was a really clean match. You know, climbed up. I climbed decently high, got a kill, played really well. I played to my plane's complete advantages. What happens when you throw that into something else? Now, real quick, I am going to just let you see how much RP and stuff is gained. Just from a simple game, 1 kill, no premium account. It has expired, just haven't bought it again. 4,500 RP though, which is really, really good. Considering most of the time you get 2 to 3 kills paired with a premium account. I know most people don't have that, but really it's an incredibly quick way to grind up in the Japanese line. Now, of course, you could just go and you could just actually go and, you know, buy out with I forget what they're called, but with the buyout RP, and you could actually just grind up. But when planes, especially in lower tier, if you guys are looking for a plane to actually grind out in, like, let's say tier 1 or tier 2, and you want to skip those terrible planes with the 7.9 millimeters that do absolutely no damage, then yeah, this is a wonderful, wonderful plane. Truly, the amount of RP you're going to get, especially if you have a premium account, is going to be something that's going to completely just demolish the Japanese line. Now, originally, I actually ground most of that out with the A7M1, which is also an incredible plane. However, I probably should have just bought this, because this is truly one of my most favorite props in the game. Yeah, it's quick, it's nimble, and like I said, the guns are just amazing. So, jumping into the next game, this is kind of what we're gonna see. We're gonna see how these guns do against bombers. Now, here's the thing about bombers: they're made to take a lot of damage. Obviously, not even these guns are just gonna completely destroy it. But as we can see there, with just 6 rounds, I have already got a crit. Blew off his elevator, blew off his rudder, and damaged his wing. Now I'm gonna turn around because I have no intentions of following that guy down. But as you can see, 20 well-placed shots. And honestly, they weren't even the best placed shots. But just with a couple rounds of hitting, I got a crit, and I'm going to get an immediate assist. So, now coming up, we have Virus, VFX, and V-Shark coming up. And honestly, I'm going to go for the bottom one. But just leading a couple decent shots. As you can see, you don't have to lead as much as I was trying to. But flying up to the B-17 as well, this is really where this plane kind of excels. It has a decent climb rate, which means you can actually get up to bomber height before they reach your base. And with those huge 30 millimeters, they most of the time, unless you miss all your shots like me, just completely obliterate planes. So we blew off his rudder, his elevator, his tail. He will actually end up going down, and I do get the kill. But for now, I am going to go back to base and land, as I've spent all my ammunition. So 84 rounds back. I guess it's not 80 rounds, it is 84. So 42 per gun, not a whole lot of ammunition. But going back up, we have F4Us and P-51s in the sky. Really, they're kind of screwed. The P-51s don't have an altitude advantage. They're against an A7M1, J2M5, and A6M3. Now, actually the most deadly guy in this game right now is probably the P-47 at altitude. If played correctly, the P-47 is one of the best planes in the game. But most of the time people don't fly the plane correctly. So, not really going to worry about that. Instead, I'm going to look at these P-51s. What these guys were doing, I have absolutely no idea. I just know it wasn't super amazing piloting. But, you know, no offense. Trust me, I have made my fair share of mistakes. So, going down for the P-51, yeah, he never really stood a chance. This will outmaneuver a P-51 in most situations. The P-51 does have a really sweet maneuverability spot around 300, maybe 290 to 400. Does maneuver really well. However, the J2M5 is pretty much just going to obliterate it. He's also not going to outrun me, and if he does, I just have those amazing cannons. You can really scare people because even if you don't hit, most of the time you're going to get really close, and most of the time they're going to turn around. So now that he's pulled up in the straight, he's completely gone. Now, luckily enough for him, I didn't destroy him there, but like I said, this plane will actually outmaneuver him. So guys, if you haven't bought this plane, I do recommend it. It's one of the best planes, one of the best premiums I can recommend buying. And that's just my recommendation. If you guys have any questions, just ask down in the comments down below. I will be sure to answer them. But yeah, if you guys are looking for a premium in the Japanese line, this is one I highly recommend. So guys, until then, fly safe, and I'll see you guys next time.